Thank you for that. Can you hear me now that I have actually selected an audio source? Doot doot doot. All of these things. I'm hoping that this is working now. What's weird is that I can see the audio jumping on the screen, and I have been seeing that since I started rambling along. But the audio says, yes! Yay! Beautiful. Hi Avery, how are you doing? I hope everything is well on your end.
I'm here too,
Yay.
probably.
I was just rambling about how wet and rainy it was and how I went to the farmer's market earlier today and got black locust honey, which is honey made from the black locust tree, which is dark and interesting and super tasty. Let's do this. Yay. A busy day for you, huh? I'm glad it's nothing awful. It was a busy day for us yesterday. Mostly good things, but a lot of them. So today has been like, let's just sit and read a bit, go to market, get a flower, come back. And now we've got a few things to finish up, or small projects to do. I'm gonna be working on putting collars on the dress shirts that I've been making, and once I've gotten that sort of started, my next job is to do a design, work on the clear window masks. These went through the wash, by the way, and you can still see a mouth through them. So even though they're a little bit wrinkled going through the wash, I think they are still pretty visible. It's nice to know they can be laundered. That reminds me, I had a clear window mask idea that I want to try. I was thinking I could cut the window as a wide hexagon instead of as a rectangle, and then do the couch cushion style from there. So it'll be like that shape.
Sorry. That's a dust cough, or an allergies cough. I don't know where it came from.
It's a weird pollen-heavy day, even though it's rainy. Yeah. It's always interesting to get the weather alerts on your phone. It's like, high pollen count, and then lightning strike nearby. It's like, shouldn't the rain weigh it all down, rinse it off?
No.
Please, can it? Anyway, the ironing board is currently occupied by a whole mess of binders, because we finished a batch this week. And so instead of using it to iron things, I'm just going to be finger pressing pieces of shirt collars, which I actually really like, just to know that between my fingers, when I squeeze it, it will take a crease. Cotton is like paper that way, a little bit. And I find that very satisfying. So my first job here is to just do this. Is that ASMR? And crease some cotton to a point where it will pretend to be ironed for a minute. Yeah, it would be convenient if the rain would frickin' wash things. We washed our car, so that's something. And what are you up to today, Krista?
Sorry.
Aside from getting
coughing.
pollen out of your life.
There are, let's see, about 8 fabric sample orders that have come in since March that have not been filled yet. And so that's what I'm doing.
It's time. It's a Saturday for finishing up stuff and filling things. When I made these shirt collars, do you need water?
I have coffee.
Yes, but do you need water?
I have water also.
Okay, good.
I do need a pair of scissors though.
I can supply those. Boop. No, we don't have fabric shears here, do we? You need fabric shears.
Probably.
Let's see if those will... It's time for an experiment with household scissors.
Oh, no, they do work.
Hey! Yay. So, I'm making these 2 shirts out of these 2 different prints, which I'm really fond of. The green plaid is the cotton from the 50s, and then the blue with white embroidery is just a neat thing. And because I wanted to, I exchanged their undercollars so that each of them will have a little accent point of the other one when it's done.
Didn't you also use them on the pockets?
Yes, yes. Each of them has the undercollar, which is this part of the shirt, and the shirt pocket from the other fabric. So they're two of a kind, really. A matched set of shirts. And maybe next time I can make us both a matching set like that. And we can just be full on Haruka Uranus Neptune coordinating outfits.
The problem with that is finding 2 patterns that we both like.
Thank you. I appreciate you saying that it's cute. I think it's cute. Yeah, our print tastes rarely overlap, I think.
Yeah, not often.
And also glittery, and also... But the nice thing about this, though, is that one of the fabrics is the main fabric on one shirt, and one is on the other, so it's like...
That might be the saving grace.
Yeah, because there's a lot of things that you wear that I would really like to have an accent on. Like, I will happily wear a pocket square in bright pink, or a zebra print pocket square for that matter. I should do that. But whereas I wouldn't wear a full shirt of it. Every Wednesday afternoon, I run a crafternoon for our local queer group, where we all just hop on Zoom and make things. And today feels a little bit like that, where we're just hopping on stream and saying hello and making things. And feel free to pull out whatever you've got to make along with us, because that's the sort of energy I think we're pulling together.
Yeah, probably.
Alrighty. These are finger pressed. And now I need to grab one of these. I got the blue one first. This is the sleeveless one that I'm going to hem the sleeves. Maybe I'll do it in more of the green cotton, but maybe I'll also do them in denim. But I'm gonna have like trim around the armholes instead of real sleeves. And this is the shirt that says to me, Eli, lift more weights. Sun's out, guns out.
That's one.
A lot of times sample orders are a collection of like skin tones and solid colors, which makes perfect sense that these are the things that you would want to see in person the most.
Oh, yeah, and that we, actively encourage people to do so.
Yeah, like, please order samples of skin tones if you want to match, because there's absolutely no way that the internet will accurately convey a perfect color match to you.
Also, it can be hard to tell, because so many of them, like, you only really get what color they are in comparison to other colors. Like, it's entirely in context, because there's not a whole lot of variation between some of them, and like looking at them on a computer screen in just like an individual square it can give you a different impression of what the actual color is compared to looking at it next to one of the other colors. And even then, it still doesn't give you the, like, an accurate picture.
This is why on our new swatch page we have both the individual nude blocks and pictures of all of the skin tones placed next to each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, just to give that extra thing. But yeah, there's a lot of sample orders like that, and then there are some sample orders that are also fun, which say things like, "Give me all of your black shiny things. Let me be wizard goth aesthetic." And then it's like, we will collect the black shiny things.
Yeah, I do have a few here that were just like, because we have different options for how many fabric samples you want to get, and it's 3, 6, and 12. And so some people will just like order 6 and request 3 specifically, and then just give us, I like greens, or I like blues, or I like rainbows but not like bright rainbows.
What you got in my aesthetic?
Yeah.
Which is even more legit now that we don't have the binder listings immediately available. We gotta put that sample order listing back up.
Yeah.
It's on this week's coming website to do.
Yeah, I think that is probably going to go up once I actually finish this.
Makes sense.
Which will be done.
Yay!
I think what's happening is that I will do the packing on Monday. And then you can take all of that back with you, including this, since because there's so much fabric involved, they have to be weighed, and because they're also so variable, like everything has different amounts of fabric, it has different kinds of fabric, and each different fabric has a different weight, and it all adds up differently. So each fabric sample order has to be weighed separately.
A lot of the configuring of the new website this week has been back-end stuff that y'all don't necessarily see, but I discovered when I was shipping masks yesterday that none of the masks had a listed weight on the website, so I had to enter each one individually. Yeah. It's like, yes, telling the back-end shipping portion of the website how much the products weigh is important.
Oh, I didn't do that
We
with
had to do it.
any of the accessories.
Yeah, that's okay. It's on the list. There are many, many things which are on the list, and I kind of really like that the website is up now, so it just sort of forces us to get it done. It's like, we can't say, well, it's only in construction. No, it's up there. We need to do it.
I mean, it is in construction, but
yes.
Also it's up.
Also, it's up. And, like, that's also really rewarding. When it's immediately done, then it's immediately put into use. It's the difference between posting to a blog and writing a book. I could never write a book. It takes far too long for anyone to see any of it except for me. The only reason I managed to write my thesis was that I had you reviewing it along the way.
Did I review it along the way? I remember reading it after the fact.
I think at some point when I was just finishing it, I was like, I have to finish this so Krista can read the whole thing and it will make sense from start to finish. Because at that point I had just stared at it too long myself.
Oh yeah,
and
that's
it was
definitely
like that,
a thing.
Yeah, that solitary project sense where it's just altogether too much.
Avery is asking, are we still emailing when things ship out like normal? Yes, that's an automated thing that the web host handled it, our old web host handled it, and the new web host will also handle it.
Is also, yep.
Yeah, so I don't know if we've actually... Well, no, we didn't edit the old one either.
What do you mean?
Well, we individualized the confirmation emails when people order things.
Yeah.
We've
individualized the shipping email too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. They sent out, it is an automated emailing system that works both on the old website for binders and on the new website for masks. and it sends the email when we print the shipping label.
Yeah.
So there is sometimes a bit of a lag between us printing the shipping label for a batch and then us getting all the batches into the envelopes and getting the envelopes out the door. But that is oftentimes also like a lag between us getting the envelopes out the door and the post office scanning them in and starting tracking.
Yeah.
So there's always some gap between people receiving the email and the tracking link in the email actually working.
Yeah, that's what it means when you click on a tracking email and it says label has been created or post office is waiting for package or something like that. It just means that the packing facility has printed up the label and it is on its way to the post office to actually be shipped out. Because that whole tracking system is done by scanning the barcodes on the shipping labels.
In more active times, when there were 3 and 4 of us in the office on a Friday, we could print labels out on a Friday and then get them in envelopes and onto the dock sometimes in time for the Friday afternoon pickup. And someday we'll be able to work together in person again, but not soon. Yeah, no problem. I'm just excited that we're gonna have more active shifts in the studio, so there will be less time over the course of the week that it's just completely empty and dead. That's what's exciting. It's just a little bit more hours per week put into binder making.
Yeah. And to be fair, it's entirely my fault that shipping is now going to take just a little bit longer because I'm the one who doesn't care about doing it. I mean, not that I don't care, that I enjoy the meditative aspect of it, and like I've said before, I still don't feel comfortable leaving the apartment much.
I was gonna say, it's not your fault that,
No,
that
it
there
is
is a
my
plague.
fault. It is my fault because I've taken the shipping onto myself.
Let me finish. It is not your fault that there's a plague on, and it's not your fault that you are susceptible to said plague.
That's true. But yeah, so because I am the one that doesn't mind doing it, I think.
Yeah.
That I know the quick system, and like I don't know that I enjoy doing it, but it's meditative, and
you can get into a flow, and I just stab myself with pins
exactly.
a lot.
And everybody else has better things to do. So, but like instead of them just wheeling a pile over to me, now they have to dump everything in the car and bring it back home so I can pack it and then bring it back to the cotton mill where there is a bulk mail pickup. Because also we've gotten yelled at before by the mailman
for stuffing the mailbox.
Yeah.
So we have to do bulk mail pickup. And also, like, you're not the only person in Shapeshifters who works from home for some or all of your work at this stage.
Negative says, I just got here and apparently Krista is at fault for COVID. Krista, what did you do? I'm sorry.
Hi, Negative. I will say it is 100% Krista's fault that Shapeshifters pivoted pretty quickly to working at home for all of our people. And it's like, all right, Krista's working from home and Krista co-owns the thing, so let's just get on that level really fast. What can we do from home? What can we take home? What does not require people to come into a building where potentially many other people are, and many other people are sharing a bathroom, which at the time we didn't know how good we didn't even know how often they were cleaning the bathrooms. It was late March and April were a rough time, but it meant that we got really good pretty fast at, oh, only the things that require the industrial machines really need to happen at the studio.
They were definitely cleaning them every morning.
Yeah. Yeah.
Before, I mean.
Oh, were they?
Yeah, because
Huh.
well, our the studio we used to be in was across the hall from one of the main bathrooms. Because they're all communal bathrooms. Nobody has a private bathroom, and usually when I came up in the morning, because I always took the elevator because we were right next to it, and stairs asthma. If I didn't pass by the guy who was cleaning the bathrooms, his cart would at least be in the elevator.
Yeah.
Just sort of waiting for him to come out and dump the garbage.
God bless all janitors and sanitation workers,
Yeah.
and especially now.
Finn says, I'm finally not ridiculously late.
Yay! Hi, Finn.
Avery says, that's a good thing to be at fault for, which I assume is about staying home.
Work from home. T-shirts. So welcome in, folks. We are finishing up projects and things that have been sitting on lists for a while, and so I am pinning this collar to this shirt that has the green plaid on the undercollar and also the green plaid on the trim of the pocket. And this is the shirt that's going to be sleeveless. And I'm gonna do collars on shirts until these two collars are on these two shirts, and then I'm gonna switch to clear window masks again because I figured out a different thing which I think is gonna work pretty well. And Chris is doing sample orders, and I like this person who ordered goth plaid, selkie, and quicksilver.
They didn't actually.
No? Is this a selection from you?
Yeah, this was one that they just said, give me a random one, and didn't give me any guidance.
So you're curating their
I
their
figured
shapeshifters experience.
They got a lot of scales, but I figured the dragon scales are basically just the small scales. And if they picked out Quicksilver of all of the snakes, then they would have looked at the rest of the snakes.
Yeah.
And clearly we're not interested enough for them. So.
Yeah. You've got some silver and some black, so goth plaid it is.
And, we haven't put the plaids out there a whole lot.
Yeah. We gotta remind people that the plaids exist because they're lovely.
I actually wish I had more here. I only have a chunk of the goth plaid.
Oh, well, I can fix that next time I go in. I really enjoy the binders that look like other things. Like the plaid binders look like they're yarn dyed, and the wood grain print binders are fun. And I'm trying to carry some of that over into mask making here and there. It's like, can I have a mask that looks like wood or leather or...
Yeah, no, I like that that sort of gingham-y plaid one with the little embroidered roosters on it.
Yeah.
And it looked like, an old country kitchen curtain.
They actually weren't embroidered roosters. They were
really?
jacquard woven in.
Oh.
Yeah. It was
Close
a
enough.
weave thing, yeah. It's really cool. Embroidery is when you already have like a flat weave cloth like this, and then you go back in and you stitch something extra on top of it. Whereas jacquard weave is when in the making of the cloth, when you're putting fabric together, putting strands of yarn together, you raise some stitches and then you create a shape.
Avery says, the leather mask sounds so cool. And Naya says, you have wood grain print binders? I think We've done a couple before.
Yeah.
On a special request.
Yeah, I want to do more of those. It's a spandex house print, and spandex house is open again, so we can get more now. But yeah, the ones that are like wood grain print and denim print, the ginder. That one is important to me. Yeah, a leather mask is one of those. It can't be real leather because we'll all sweat to death.
Could you do waxed cotton?
To make it like that shine?
Yeah.
That sheen? Possible.
Because I've seen waxed cotton before, and it does have a very leathery look to it.
Yeah. Okay, so I've pinned this from the inside, but if I stitch it from the inside, the stitching on the outside will look weird. So now I have to take all these pins on the inside of the bottom of the collar and switch them so that they're on the outside. And I had to do it this way because I needed to finger press the creases on the inside. So that would work. So this is part of putting collars on shirts. It's just a lot of pinning and repinning and re-repinning. And I have tried a few times when sewing collars onto shirts to skip a step of pinning here and there, and every time I have regretted it. Something has gone wrong. It's been a different thing every time, but I have learned this by experience. You just gotta pin and repin and repin. It's the same thing as putting a zipper in a binder. You gotta keep all the layers aligned all the time.
Sometimes my notes on these aren't very good.
Uh-oh. What did you put as a note?
Well, this person ordered 6 fabric samples, and I just wrote skin tones.
We have more than 6.
We do have more than 6.
Okay.
Like, even if I just meant, like, the solid skin tones and not the mesh ones, we still have more than 6.
Yeah. Note that we are out of U-mesh. Like, at all. I'm sorry, I tried to buy it, and they said it was the same stuff, and it was crunchy and like tissue paper and awful. This is the problem with buying dead stock, is that you get something really cool, and then you buy as much of it as the supplier has, and the supplier runs out, and you go, do you have any more? And they go, no. And you go, will you get any more? And they go, we don't know. It depends on whether some big fish somewhere else orders another dye lot. It makes me very sad because U-mesh was understandably popular because it feels like a correct skin tone for a lot of people, a good match. And it was strong and soft, comfortable, so of course it had to run out.
They just asked for all of the skin tones.
So your note was accurate to their order.
Yep, I just wasn't paying attention enough.
I mean, for the record, I don't care if you give them all of them. Yeah. Okay, I've managed to repin all of the pins to the outside of this collar, and oh wait.
What?
Shit. Shootly dude. Wait.
What?
I think put this on backwards. This is now the top of the collar. I wanted it to be the underside of the collar.
Yep.
I've put this on backwards. I spent all that time pinning and repinning and being ready, but I've put this on backwards. So if I want this to be the way that I wanted it to be, I have to unpin it, pick out the stitches, and redo it.
Or you could come to terms with having the color be an accent color as well.
Just that, like, the top of the color, like this part of the color.
Yeah.
At the top being different. I mean, it's a weird shirt anyways. It's gonna be a weird shirt anyways. Can I get away with just having the collar be weird too? It's already clearly a homemade weird shirt. If the color's totally strange, it's supposed to just a tiny bit strange.
And then you make it less strange by popping it. Megan says, Eli, did you just censor yourself? Is this a no swearing stream? Because this seems like a swearing situation. Finn says, spending so much time pinning something and then it's wrong is the worst.
I censor myself a lot, whether it's a swearing situation or not, because of all that time where I was teaching English to Japanese school children. Because if you say a swear word in front of a group of Japanese middle schoolers, they will never let you forget that you said that swear word, because boy howdy, the entire town of middle schoolers will know it within the week. So I at least wanted those kids to be repeating things like shoodly doot.
I can confirm this. They often come up with random
I at least wanted the English teachers who came after me to have something really funny in the local school child vernacular of English swears.
Yeah, for those who don't know, Eli was in the JET program.
I was a JET.
What is it?
Japan Exchange and Teaching Program. Yeah, I'm totally just sewing it in as it is. We're gonna call this a Bob Ross happy accident. It's just gonna be weird, because this is the weird shirt.
Avery says, oh, all you need is the little accent on the end of the sleeve and it'll be a handsomely weird shirt.
But it's not gonna have sleeves! It's just gonna have trim around the armhole, which is gonna be a weird color. A weird color anyways.
You're gonna do like a roll, right?
Yeah.
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 Yeah, so it'll still match.
Yeah, totally. It's some frickin' Sailor Moon vibes.
And Negative says they agree with Avery.
Yay. I'm being the 90s manga butch that I always wanted to be. And now I get to stitch in the ditch, which is something that is just one of those techniques that everybody teaches in fashion school, and it's extremely finicky and very unnecessary.
What does that mean?
So the ditch in this case is a seam. It's the seam where the outside collar was sewn to the body, and you take, do I have an example? Here's a seam, if y'all can see. I don't know, there's a seam going down this fabric, and when you pull the seam really tight between two pieces of fabric, you can just barely see the thread that attaches the two pieces. And the theory behind stitching in the ditch is that you pull the seam really tight and then you put the needle down right on top of the threads that hold those two pieces together. So
the ditch being that point where the fabric, the two panels of fabric meet,
right,
and sort of sink in.
Right. So when you relax your pull, this stitching becomes invisible.
Mm-hmm.
That's the theory anyways. If you're a millimeter out of line, it will become visible again.
Negative says, yes, Eli, live your 90s dreams.
Yes.
Didn't we lose one of the really dark browns? Do you remember which one?
I do not remember which one. You're right that we did, because we got a dark brown from Spandex House and a slightly different dark brown from Spandex World, and then we stopped getting things from Spandex World because they were always out of stock.
So it wasn't one of the meshes?
No, it was one of the solids.
Walnut or laurel? Was it walnut?
I thought walnut was the mesh. No, mahogany's the mesh. I think it's walnut. Yeah,
Okay.
I think laurel is the one that we have.
I guess there's not a whole lot of difference between them.
It's a very, very vague difference, and we were just so determined to have any other brown than the same brown that everyone has.
Just a variety of brown.
Yeah. Here's the other thing about stitching in the ditch is if you've pinned it right, what I'm doing is pulling all pieces of the collar together. But if I've pinned it slightly wrong, then a small piece of the collar will be detached on the inside. And I won't know until I'm done whether all of this pinning... I probably could just like top stitch it, and that would be easier and look perfectly neat and fine. But I so rarely get the chance to do it this way that I want to like pretend that I still can.
Well, the good news is that without walnut, just giving them the solid skin tones actually is just 6.
Hey! Perfect. Worked perfectly. It's kind of rare that we get a sample pack that asks for all of them. I wonder if they're ordering for a group.
Yeah, we do get that a lot. We especially with international orders, we get a lot of people who just order together, and like you can tell because they're all different sizes.
Those are always fun. I like to see, like, it's a tiny snapshot of the aesthetic tastes of a friend group, and it's like my heart. I say that, and like sometimes, you know, it's a solid black or a solid skin tone, and it's like, great, I know nothing about you except that you needed a functional piece of clothing. Cool, that's fine.
That's valid.
Totally valid. And then there's one order in here that has the 2 different unicorn prints on 2 different binders, and it's like, I think I know something about this person. Alrighty, did I do it? Did I manage to stitch in such a way that you cannot see the stitches? Not really. I probably should have pressed it first if I really wanted that effect. Oh well, I'm gonna top stitch it after this. And did I catch all the layers in the back? No. No, I absolutely did not. This part is supposed to be fully attached, and it's not. There's a gap there.
Oh, no.
There's a gap there. All that pinning. Because I didn't stop and confirm everything. I'll do a line of top stitching, and that will even look neater.
Negev says, as an international person, I've done that. We totally get it. International shipping sucks.
Yeah.
Avery says, honestly, I wish I could be rich and buy a 30-plus binder order for local trans folks someday. The dream. Negev says, God, I wish. If you guys have a local queer group or a youth group, or sometimes colleges will have something, you can reach out to them and tell them to get in contact with us. We donate stock binders a lot.
And we have had at least one queer group reach out to us and place a group order. So like,
yeah,
if you want to organize through a queer group, I'm happy to give a discount for that when we open orders again in 2 months. But I say 2 months like that's for sure. That's my current guess. Who knows?
Yeah, I would say it's almost half and half groups that either order from us at a discount or we, send them stock that's been lying around for a while.
Yeah.
That, like we bring the stock to conventions and stuff, And you know, some stuff just doesn't sell because there's not that person there that likes that aesthetic and is also that size.
Speaking of stock that's lying around, I still think we should do a live sale, a streaming sale of what's on the rack. That was an idea.
Yeah. Finn says if I ever order a binder from y'all, it's probably going to be at least partially cuticle because I love that fabric. It's a very good fabric.
It's a delightful fabric.
If anyone hasn't seen it, it's a gray background, and then it has a bunch of, you know, kawaii style, cutesy style, witchy things like the Ouija board planchets and little potion bottles, I think.
Yeah.
All in like purples.
I should put that on the list of things to make masks out of.
Yeah.
Because there's been like a few spoonflower prints that I just can't resist making a bunch of masks out of, and we finally figured out the right combination I finally figured out how to order like a half yard or a small amount of the right bedsheet fabric, essentially. That's nice soft cotton, it's a good close weave, it's a good tight weave, and it doesn't fade as fast as the cotton sateen does, which for the really dark ones like the cute occult fabric, I don't want to get that in cotton sateen because it just turns pale in the wash the first time.
Nega says their local trans group sells subsidized binders, but they're really awful and dangerous.
Oh no!
Mostly try to point friends to GC2B for their first cheap binder. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good... We love GC2B, they're great, that's a good way to go. And also, oh no, subsidized dangerous binders. No. Oh, that's sad. Alrighty, I definitely should have pressed this before I top stitch it. I've said that several times now, and yet I refuse to press things because our ironing board is covered in binders. And I don't feel like it, so it's just gonna be a weird looking collar.
I was gonna say, the ironing board has only been covered in binders for like the past 20 minutes.
And I don't feel like pressing, so it's just gonna be a weird looking collar. And maybe I just won't sew the other collar until I feel like pressing. That seems like a thing. That might be a little important. But this is the weird shirt, so it's fine.
Nick has also reassured us that they wreck us also.
Yay.
We know we're not the cheap option. It's okay. I think like the first year we were technically a business, that was most of the conversations we were having was why is everything so expensive? Like
because
I think
we're the
eventually
expensive option.
Yeah, eventually people started hearing us go, yes, we know.
Alrighty, collar's on. This is a shirt with a collar on it. Yay.
It looks good. I like it.
Yeah, I'm pleased with how the top stitching came out, and it definitely tacked everything down that needed to be reattached. So the next things for this are the arm roll, the bottom hem, and the buttonholes. The buttonholes are probably next, and I don't feel like doing that.
Avery says, at the trans youth camp I volunteer at, we always have a small unofficial binder swap of stuff that folks outgrew. That's awesome.
That's wonderful.
But I always want to be able to buy some just for that.
Seriously, next time it's going, I don't know if it's going now, but next time it's going, email us. I'll send you some. Not kidding. Done it before, and I'm gonna switch to clear window masks, though, because I don't feel like buttonholing.
Avery also says it looks great.
Yay, thanks. I am pleased with that progress. And now I need clear vinyl. Oh, yeah. We did put the clear vinyl through the wash, and it is pretty much still clear. It's kind of crinkly.
Yeah, it's crinkled. It's not melted, and
Yeah.
it is not pretty much clear. It's exactly as clear as it was before.
Yeah. So that's nice to know that they can be washed. Kind of important. No. You go there. Go like this. Cut it off. I'm sure it would be so much neater to unroll this, but I don't really care. I don't feel like dealing with a whole unrolled roll of clear vinyl in the midst of this.
Now here's the tricky. This person ordered 12 samples, only requested 6,
Ooh.
and then just gave me a general, these are the colors I like, but nothing shiny.
Oh, they specified nothing shiny.
Yeah.
Okay. That's totally valid, and also, what are the colors?
Earthy greens, bright blues, bright warm yellows, and black.
Ooh. Do you have Teen Detective Plaid, or you said you didn't have other
No,
plaid?
I've only got the
Dang,
goth
that's a nice
plaid.
bright blue.
But oh yes, I should do that one.
Yeah.
Where did it go? I guess the space one.
Yeah. There's space, there's... The snakes are mostly shiny except for the rainbow one.
Yeah.
Do we need more non-shiny things? Oh, stripes?
I don't have any stripes.
Oh, well, we should fix that.
This whole...
Uh-huh.
This is a relatively new organizational system, and it was set up in February. And like at that point we hadn't even, like, we had listed the new plaids, but we hadn't ordered any of them in. Like we decided to wait until people actually ordered them.
God, February was 6 million years ago.
One, 2, 3. I need 3 more. Let's see.
I
Here's
need
space.
a strip of flannel. Here we are, strip of flannel.
There we go. That's a nice bright blue.
So my current theory about clear window masks constructed like couch cushions, there sure is a sentence, is that a hexagon in front of the mouth will do better than a rectangle. Partially because the hexagon points at the top and the bottom will allow for more material going over the nose and over the chin. And also partially because our mouths are not rectangle shaped. And they're not exactly hexagonal either, but it's closer.
Negative says, you don't need more non-shiny things. Shiny is great. I agree, but you know, not everybody's into shiny. And like, here's the other question with that. Does no shiny just mean that they don't like sparkle? Or does it mean that they want to avoid more feminine looking things? In which case, do I have to leave out the only yellow thing we have?
I mean, they asked for a bright yellow though, right?
Yes, but not necessarily flowers.
Yeah, but that's a bright yellow. I think we should go for it. Yeah.
Yeah. And you know, if they don't like it, they don't have to buy it.
Totally. And there's also a question of whether shiny things, a ban on shiny things might be a textural thing.
That's true.
Because all of the spandex that has shiny stuff in it has shiny stuff like inlaid along the top of the fabric. Like the backing is just this plain pink. And it feels different. It feels a little more plasticky. That was on here, right? Yes. Yeah. It feels a little more plasticky, and it can be a texture issue for some folks. Sorry.
They're piled up in order.
I messed up the order. It's also warmer. The shinier binders are warmer, and it is summertime.
Finn says, I'm thinking about making a mask for myself because so far I've just been using a bandana. Do you think a fabric that's 60-40 cotton polyester would be okay, layered with a straight up cotton?
This is actually a matter of some debate amongst mask makers right now. We know for sure that any amount of synthetic filters less than 100% cotton because the cotton fibers fluff up in the wash and as you wear them, and that fluff between fibers blocks out more particles. Whereas a plastic fiber, a rayon or a polyester, anything like that, stays sleek and smooth and leaves in the weave between those fibers. So maximum filtration is 100% cotton. Whether or not a 60-40 filter is enough depends on your definition of enough. Depends on a number of things, including how tight the weave is, the closeness together of the fibers. It depends on whether your personal immune system can handle a greater or a lesser viral load, because all of these filtration things are a question of like, oh, I'm filtering out, this mask filters out 70% or 50% or 80%. So I think folks with a less resilient immune system are safer with the 80 and 90% stuff. Like so many COVID things, this is a personal risk reward. Is like if you have 2 layers of 100% cotton and you can use that for a mask without any cost to you, then do it. But if a 60-40 is what you've got, use that. That's what I think. It's also very... I'm basing all of this, right, on the materials tester whose spreadsheet I still haven't put up on our website and need to, but the numbers that I have. And she didn't actually have, that I recall, a 60-40 blend. She had a 50-50 blend of numbers from that. And I don't remember what they were. So yeah, I think that's the difference between equipping 20% poison resist and a 15% poison resist on your RPG character. Roughly, I don't know.
In lighter news, the part of the problems with cutting out the fabric samples for the space prints is that, like, normally I just cut out something like this size. You know, it's an easy to deal with size. It gives people a good idea of the print, and you know, there's enough to get an idea of the texture. But this really get the full effect.
The puppers.
And I might have just wanted to show off that fabric.
Pups in space.
Because I love it.
Someone in the current batch requested that the Shiba Inu in Pups in Space be like front and center on their binder if they can. And that's the sort of request that our layouts person is really good at helping at doing. Our layouts person is very skilled with Pups in Space. They once did a layout that had like a whole dog in center back, and then in center front they had a dog up to the neck, so it was like the binder looked like it was a dog body with a person's head coming out of it.
Yeah, I had to, when I saw that request, I had to double check to make sure that there was a Shiba Inu even on the print, because this is one of the ones that we get from Spandex House, and Spandex House doesn't have the best naming system, and they call it hunting dogs. And so, of course, in my head, then that just means, oh, it's like hound dogs. And a Shiba Inu is not a hound dog.
No, but there is a
But there are.
Yeah.
Negative says, to be honest, my masks are 2 layers of 100% cotton, and it can be hard to breathe, though at times I can see how it'd be difficult for people with breathing problems. I can talk. Finn says, okay, thanks. I think I'll go for it, mostly because it's the fabric that I have. And also space dogs.
Space dogs. Yeah, do the fabric that you have. Reach out to me if you want me to send you some fabric. I've got some to spare. And yeah, it's...
We can't promise it'll be super fashionable.
Yeah. But we've got some to spare.
Yeah, what I'm looking at right now is a couple of houndstooth prints. One is white and neon green, and the other is white and neon orange.
We've got some purple, what's that pattern name? Honeycomb. We've got some purple honeycomb left.
God.
Words. I can words. There is such a thing.
The orcas in space print is just so big.
Orcas in space is not even like puppies in space.
There's nothing on it. Except, like, it's just that there's a lot of space around the whales.
There's a lot of space ocean, and then there's a whale.
It's called the journey home, but yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm like looking at this, and I don't have another scrap of it.
Yeah, I like this one a lot better.
Oh no. I'm dropping fabric scraps.
Yes, you can make neon houndstooth fashionable. Yes, we can. Let's do it. Let's do it. New mission statement. Okay. Doodle-a-doo.
Alright.
Again, the window might be too big in terms of there's not that much cloth to breathe through or to get moisture absorbing. But other than that, I'm pretty pleased with this. Yeah, alright. I'm gonna try it with a slightly smaller, similarly shaped window, and then I'm gonna put attachments on it.
I'm gonna put a little note underneath this scrap. I'm sorry. This was the best scrap. This was the only scrap that I had on hand. Otherwise, I would have given you a full whale.
A partial whale.
His poor dorsal fin's been cut off.
Oh no. Whale fin soup. No, that was terrible. Forget I said that. But yeah, if you want some fabric, hit me up. I've got some. As a general rule, I have some.
Do you want them to email or to go through the contact page?
Email. Eli@shapeshifters.co. That's where I'm at. That's where you can find me. Boop, boop. Okay, this is narrower. Should it also be shorter? Yes. Okay.
What are you muttering?
I am muttering to myself about whether or about the precise shrinkening of this size of vinyl window. And yes, shrinkening is a word. I decree it, and I'm giving it like a 3/8 of an inch smaller margin all around. Do. Now I'm gonna couch cushion sew on this strip of flannel and see how that goes. It's so weird to be working with flannel in the summer. It's so warm out there. I ran out of bobbin thread.
Oh no.
I didn't get very far. I sewed like 2 inches worth with an empty bobbin. I realized soon enough. Now where is the bobbin holder?
Behind you. Directly behind you.
Haha. Haha. I'm getting better at realizing when the bobbin is out. Like just watching the stitches come out and being like, ah, it has happened at this moment. And like, technically I know that I should be watching out for it when I can see that the bobbin thread is low and so forth, but I don't think I would have learned how to do that without making the mistake of hemming with air for a long time.
Nego says they have to go, but it's been fun. Bye.
Bye. Always lovely to see you. Hopefully see you next week. Oop. There we go. Oop. Oop. What's up? Are we out of something else?
I don't have
Gonna make a list.
pinstripe here.
Pinstripe.
Somebody asked for it.
Pinstripe. Plaids.
Hiding somewhere. No.
You know, Miles is a good beast, but I wish he wouldn't let me sew while the presser foot is up. Wanda wouldn't let me do that. That is sort of a mixed blessing about the more modern table sewing machines, is that they have sensors built in to block you from making a lot of the standard mistakes. Like Wanda won't let you sew if the presser foot is up and you're just going to make a mess. And some machines have a bobbin sensor where they will just stop stitching when the bobbin is out of thread.
Why do I have The Stars Are Gay but not Retro Galaxy?
I don't know. The Stars Are Gay is very, very out of stock. We should turn that into ear loops.
Okay. You're welcome to take whatever you want out of there.
See. I like turning the space prints into ear loops because you can still, even at that tiny scale, you can still sort of see that there is cloudiness and starriness in them. It's very good. Alright. It's like turning the stripes or the plaids into ear loops. You can still get that essential plaidiness out of them. Okay, that's very small and actually kind of needs to be pulled back a little bit. Really what this needs is wider pattern pieces along the sides. I can't just do a single couch cushion straight right angles back, no matter how much I want to. It was kind of silly to think that I could. But instead of perfectly square pattern pieces along the sides, I'm gonna make trapezoids. And so if the square pattern pieces are just that big, then the trapezoids can be angled out and go like that. I am absolutely, like, bullshitting this pattern making process in which I just sort of lay strips of fabric on top of other strips of fabric and eyeball it and be like, you know what? Instead of a square with straight up and down sides, I'm gonna make a trapezoid so that the side of the mask has more room to come along the side of the face. Like that, really. Yeah. And then, what I get to do is I get to cut off the piece that is just a square, and instead insert a trapezoid.
Finn says, looks like an improvement for the fugging.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. I agree. Out from the face. Got all that room in there. Boink. There you go. And cut this very exactly, and now I have to slice off a little bit. This is extremely bad practice, what I'm doing right now. Is cutting in the middle of stitching.
Avery says, honestly, I don't know why trapezoids aren't used for masks always.
I think they often are. I see them in a lot of different patterns. Yeah, we use a rectangle because it's easier to make a bunch at once when they are scaled, or they are a scalable, a scalar pattern. A scalar shape? Yeah, a shape that fits together, stacked on top of itself. And easy to cut, like a rectangle. And that way we can make more of them quicker, and the pleats give it that shape. But I do see a lot of mask patterns that are trapezoidal and seem to be working pretty well. There was a famous one going around back in April that was done by a nurse, and her favorite shape was the trapezoid.
Was that the one that looks like a ninja mask?
I think so. I think there are a few that look like a ninja mask, so I'm not sure if I know the one that you mean precisely. But yes, I think so. It's not the Olsen mask. The Olsen mask looks like a sort of a rhino horn when it's laid flat. Yeah, when I was at I went to our local Asian market yesterday, and by local Asian market, I mean it's a 30-minute drive away, but I happened to be down in the area, and we met someone in line, the requisite 8 feet away from us, wearing this really cool mask that was shaped... I need a pen to describe this.
Yeah,
Can I borrow
that's
that?
alright there.
Can I borrow that Sharpie though?
Sure.
Yay. I met someone else at the grocery store who also makes masks, so we got into a talk about it. And the flat pattern shape of this mask was like that. So that this is the front, and here's where the nose goes, and it was just a side of fabric going up to the ear, and then there was like a little ear loop. The little ear loop coming out there. And the ear loop was actually a bit of elastic that went all the way through in a channel all the way over the nose and around the chin, so that it had a lot of stretch to it. It was really cool. And it was that sense of like that trapezoid sense, even though there was a curve for greater volume for air in the very front, that I thought it was neat as hell.
I do need that Sharpie back though.
There you are. Yep, of course. They also had like a really cool pattern along the side of their top layer, and it's like, hello, fellow crafter, you have done a fiber art. I really genuinely enjoy meeting other mask makers in the wild who are like, I can do an art. I need to embroider more masks, because the one embroidery that I did it on a mask fabric that has kind of faded really fast in the wash, because it was from our initial purchase of kind of cheap quilting cottons. So now I need to do an embroidery on a fabric that I know will last longer. And you know, it doesn't help that we hot water wash them every single time.
I don't want to lick these envelopes closed.
That's fair. Do you
in
want to
these
like
troubled times?
in these COVID times?
A dish of water and a paper towel.
I was just gonna say that. Speaking of, where's my hydration? There's my coffee.
This one?
Yeah, that one. Thank you. I agree. They looked really comfy when they were on. It was super neat, and I'm totally gonna try it myself. I tried out an Olsen mask, which is the kind that the Olsen mask is the kind that the pattern looks like this, pencil at the bottom, and it's got this curve up to a point that comes to a point at the top of the nose, and that
Oh yeah, the ninja mask.
Yeah, that squished the tip of my nose down so much, and I kept trying to readjust it, and it kept doing that thing, and eventually I was like, I much prefer the pleats, because I have a nose. I have a Scottish schnoz. And now I have trapezoids at the sides of my window mask. Trapezoid! Oh, it's done the thing again where it's gone further down. Hang on, let's try this. Yeah, okay. I think this is very workable. I feel like the fogging is, again, still there, but less. I think you can see a lot of my mouth and maybe chin, which is good. I'm gonna try and put some fastenings on these. See how that goes. And that means, what does that mean?
I don't know. I was only half paying attention.
Will you pass me that Stars Are Gay scrap of spandex? Thank you. I'm making
Finn
earloops.
asks, so with that first design, was the seam down the middle?
Yes. Yes, the seam was down the middle. For both of those designs, the ones that have like a specific pattern shape down the side, they do a seam straight down the middle. This is one of the things that materials tester I mentioned really comforted me on, is that she tested both on seams of fabrics, as well as on the unbroken stretch of fabrics, and seams actually filter better because there are more layers at the seams.
Oh.
And the proper needle that punches through cotton does so in a way that the cotton fluffs up around the holes and heals itself.
Mm-hmm. Right, because it should be going through the threads rather than breaking them.
Right. Right. A sharp enough needle for a woven fabric should, it should separate the fibers instead of snapping them. And yeah, that was something I was worried about when I first saw the seam down the middle style. It's like, that means you've punched a bunch of holes down the very center of your mask. But amazingly enough, it turned out okay.
Which the same can't be said for vinyl.
Yeah. Vinyl does not heal itself. What else was I gonna do while I was here? I was gonna get a strip of cotton. Non-flannel cotton, flat weave cotton. An interesting strip or two. So, shirting cotton it is. Now I'm going to take these interesting strips and stitch them right side to right side onto... Wait, is it right side to right side? Because I may have made an error. Because I want to enclose the plastic. Wait, no I haven't. I can do this. Haha! I think I know how to do this. probably, maybe. I realize I'm speaking in sentence fragments, but I think I know what I'm doing now. It's right side to right side with the vinyl sandwiched in between the two right sides. That is the formula for how to position fabrics so that they will enclose the raw edge of the vinyl on either side of their two raw edges and still come out good. Oh, I should probably have cut the trapezoids before I put this thing under the machine, making it very much harder to cut the trapezoids. Whatever, I'll eyeball it, it's fine. What are you laughing at?
Nothing. Nothing at all.
Is that a good trapezoid looking sucker? Yeah, you are. Here's the real benefit of experience, is that you get really good at half-assing a lot of things. Knowing when you can get away with half-assing. And again, this is still an experimental stage. This is not something that I'm going to sell to anyone. It's probably not even something that I'm going to use all that often. It's a proof of concept. And one that I am increasingly kind of proud of.
You should be.
And I'm also realizing all of these could be trapezoids. Not just the sides, but the top and bottom could be trapezoids too.
Mm-hmm.
And all I would have to do to make that happen is to cut this off at an angle. Cut the top part off at an angle instead of straight up and down. And now the top section of this is a trapezoid, and it's going to get sewn together. With one of these. Where's the Kleenex? Could you pass me the
Yes.
box behind you? Thank you. Sometimes you can just feel a tiny cotton fiber land on your nose. Sometimes while I'm talking to something that has several pieces, I need to, like, just keep talking to it to remind myself that, this piece has a friend, and it's that piece over there, and this piece needs to get sewn to that piece. Because otherwise, how will I remember what it's doing with its life and its choices? You know, the other reason that this is definitely nowhere near a final product is that this outer layer of cotton that I'm using is this shirting cotton with embroidery through it, and though the embroidery potentially is like a seam in that it strengthens the filtration a little bit, it's still so thin that I can see daylight through it. And if you can hold it up and see light through it, it's too loose of a weave to make a good mask out of. This is also, incidentally, why you're never going to see masks made out of this black and sepia back here that I was so excited about last week, so that I finally held it up to the light. And man, if you sneezed in that thing, in a mask made out of that, it would go straight through it.
Avery says, fabric is a good listener. I understand.
It is. Nope, not quite. There we go. One thing I really enjoy about home sewing machines is the thread cutter that they often have right here. If you can see, every time that I have stopped sewing, I have paused and done this motion, and that just cuts the stray thread off. And for a while, I just sort of assumed that industrial machines don't have this thing, so industrial machines don't get to have this thing, and we'll just have to all make do with having a pair of tiny scissors to cut threads at every station, until very recently when I discovered that some people sell these little plastic thread cutters, which really is just a little cup of plastic with a tiny blade, yeah, razor blade inside of it. There's some companies that just sell them with a little bit of like command sticky tape on the side so you can stick them on. And lo and behold, now at the studio, GLaDOS and Jason both have tiny little plastic ladybugs that if you slide your thread behind the ladybug's head, it gets cut off. And it's nice. I'm gonna do another studio tour sometime soon because, boy howdy, is the studio different than it was when we did that first tour in March. Yeah.
I haven't been back.
Well, there's an entire mask making station.
Yeah?
Which is not there before. Yeah, I turned your desk into shipping stuff.
Okay.
It was nearly there, and I turned my desk into special order stuff, which again, it was close to being there. So like, I go to your desk to weigh packages, and I go to my desk to make Metaton. Or whoever is on the docket for this week's applique. And then Magnus and Jason, the machines, are at the mask making station mostly, and sometimes Magnus is switched over to sew zippers on binders, but mostly the binder making station is GLaDOS and the big table. Okay, trapezoids on all sides, creating a thing. This sure is an object. And it definitely does need... maybe it only needed trapezoids on the top and bottom after all.
Has it just canceled it out?
It just made it super big. There's now like a lot of empty room up here at the top, at the four corners of the thing. I also really do need to like secure this because as it is unsecured, the flannel is just sort of folding in and obscuring my face. But I think the thing to do now is to put fasteners in it and see how it works with those. Before I try anything else, I'm gonna actually give it some ear loops. Maybe some long loops. I think long loops are better for this. I don't know why, maybe I just like them better.
Probably.
Loop over my head, don't bother my ears, and don't knock my glasses off. Long loops. Long loops. I always measure 10 inches for our around the head loops, because that is what generally works with the stretch available to us from spandex. That kind of discovery that I have made, that that around the head elastic mask loops, when they're made out of spandex, work best at 10 inches about, is the sort of thing that I have been encouraged by fashion teachers and readings and blogs to keep a secret. That's like industry secret stuff. I spent some time and effort figuring that out, and therefore no one else should have it.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel very strongly that that's kind of bullshit. Anyways. It's like, what are you going to do? Make more masks? Do it!
Yeah, it was doing really good for a while.
Oh. And also, like, generally, in terms of binder stuff, yes, we spent years trying to figure out precisely how to make our fabrics work with various sizes. And mainly the reason that, like, if someone else was working with our same fabrics, I would share our stuff. But no one else that I know of is working with our same fabrics, and if I just put our stuff on the internet, then the response is going to be from people saying, this didn't work.
Yeah.
Because nobody's using the exact same spec fabrics that we are.
Avery says, thank you for smuggling in the industry secrets for us.
Anytime. Look today that posted a sewing blog saying, we would like to hear from people who sew binders. Have any tips or tricks? And I was like, what do you want to know? I am here to spill the beans. Do you want to know where to source fabric? At what scale? Industry secrets are bullshit. Especially fashion industry.
Mm-hmm.
That said, fashion industry secrets would not be so jealously kept if people could get paid a living wage. Like, one reason that fashion industry guards its secrets so jealously is that otherwise, the moment that they get out, pattern makers stop getting paid. And then a bunch of pattern makers go out of business, and then we're all stuck with the same 6 designs of something that we're stealing from each other forever. Universal basic income would solve so many problems. Eli's socialist soapbox for the day.
I also imagine it has something to do with how much harder it is to copyright a type of garment or
a design, a pattern.
An aspect of a garment.
Yeah, it is. It is genuinely really difficult to get legal protection on design. And again, if you're vulnerable to theft, and if your work is inherently seen as without value to the people thieving it, then secrets are the only way to protect yourself.
Avery says, Eli said D.
Okay, because I did trapezoids for all 4 sides of the outer layer, but not all 4 sides of the inner layer. This is now completely mismatched. It's gonna look ugly as hell, and it's fine. I don't care anymore. It's fine. It's gonna do whatever it's gonna do. It's gonna look ridiculous on at least one corner. But what I need it to do is just stitch together for a minute. So I don't care. That's a lie. I care deeply. The theme of today's live stream is making mistakes with this particular fabric.
And also talking trash about the fashion industry.
That's the theme of every live stream. Yeah, I have made several mistakes. Mistakes have been made. It's fine. It's fastening. That's what I wanted. Is this not big enough somehow? Is 10 inches too short all of a sudden? 10 inches is too short because this isn't as wide as all of the other masks.
Oh.
So it's a little tight on me.
A little?
It's fairly tight on me. It's pretty tight on me. And now I have learned a lesson about elastic stretch when the mask just goes to here as opposed to our normal masks going all the way out to there. How do I look though? Yeah, you can definitely see that the flannel is like poofing out inside because it's mismatched. So I don't like that. I think probably trapezoids just on the top and bottom are the way to go. But it is a clear window mask that is holding onto my face. And it just fogged my glasses, which is not ideal. Yeah, and like the trapezoids on the sides really are just opening up openings on the side of my face for the air to escape and for there to not be anything like a decent seal. So that's no good. Trapezoids top and bottom.
Well, it looks like the top strap isn't actually connected to the corner.
Yeah, because the trapezoids were mismatched. I wasn't able to do that.
Oh.
But I could. Alright, I'm gonna try one more of these. And then I'm gonna
That's
call it
probably
a day.
also why it's a little too tight.
Yeah. Attempts were made. I'm gonna try one more. We're just gonna cut down this bigger window that I had before. There we go. And if it's 2 trapezoids top and bottom and 2 rectangles side to side, do I want to bother patterning that out?
Well, you should probably have some sort of consistency.
Yeah.
Or something.
Probably. Sure. So that's
like it doesn't necessarily have to
trapezoid.
be like a pattern that you cut out and you pin to fabric and cut out the fabric. But at least something that you can measure.
Yeah. Do you have a ruler?
You have a ruler taped to the table.
No, I need a straight edge.
Oh,
because this vinyl isn't actually guiding my pencil tool.
You have a straight edge there. It's tissue box. It's straight. It has an edge. It's rigid.
Well, I guess I can lean over the edge of the tissue box, yes.
You poor thing. Life is so hard.
It is. It's extremely difficult for me, and I can't believe you would give me this trial.
I'm just mean like that.
You are. have the base of a trapezoid, which is going to come up. Thank goodness tissue boxes have right angles on them, so that I can figure some things out. And then trapezoid's gonna... What kind of angle do I want on this? I'm gonna try the same angle that I have on the hexagon, just for shits and giggles. See if that makes a difference. And then after that, I want... What I'm thinking about doing is patterning two pieces. This is difficult. What am I doing? It's partially difficult because I don't have pattern paper, so I keep running out of room, and I have to restart with room. I'm just using 8.5 by 11 paper on a dining room table like it's the olden days. And I don't have a sewing studio. And yeah, I'm gonna... What am I gonna do? I have a trapezoid pattern, and I have a rectangle pattern. And the rectangle pattern is going to go along the side of the window, clear window, a right angle like that. And then it needs a bit of a margin for seam allowance. So with that, rectangle, and then fold, cut 2. Okay. Sorry, I know I'm muttering, but I think I now have a pattern wherein this part is the front, and it's got a fold down center front, and if you unfold that, you'll get a full trapezoid, and this part is the side. So if I just cut out 2 of these folded over on this front, then I will have 2 pieces that each cover a side and a top of the thing. Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. So I'm just going to go ahead and take this scrap page away, cut out this pattern piece, and see if that works. Pattern drafting is always fun for me. There's always an element of thinking about it the way I used to think about origami instructions, in that you have to look at a flat thing and say to yourself, what if it folded up and over? What if it unfolded? What if something weird happened to it? And then you end up with a thing that hopefully does what you want. Most of the time you end up with a thing that doesn't quite do what you imagined, but you learn something out of it. I get super discouraged because I draft a pattern and the thing that comes out is not the thing that I wanted, and I then like see in retrospect, it's so obvious, this is how it should have gone, this is what I should have patterned to begin with. And then I remember that I've been doing this for maximum, generously 8 years, pattern making, and my teacher told us at the whole start of the thing that 10 years is about when you get decent at it. It's like, oh, okay, this is a long-term training of the brain. It's not the sort of thing that you can expect to get really good really fast at. I think playing video games as a kid was good for me in a lot of ways, and also it set up a lot of like unrealistic expectations at how fast I should expect to get good at a thing. Because the idea of a video game is it presents you a challenge that you then complete within 30 minutes, an hour, 20 hours, 30 hours, 60 hours. Are you out of staples?
Yes.
Are all the rest of the staples at the mill?
Yes.
Okay, I'm writing myself a studio shopping list. Yeah, video games like give you these challenges that you're supposed to get done with in a short time frame.
And like,
relatively.
Yeah, especially with physical skills. Yeah, it's something that you have to train not just your brain but also your body to do. Like, it's not just some information that you have to memorize and then keep remembering. But it's also there's muscle memory and all kinds of stuff that you have to figure out, and it doubles the complication.
Yeah.
Which just makes it extra bullshit that physical stuff is considered unskilled labor.
Mm-hmm. God, what if our physical education in school had been about coordination and kinetic thinking?
And not about square dancing?
Or hitting each other with not really that soft objects.
Or just publicly shaming each other when you can't do a chin-up?
What if physical education had actually taught us how to deal with our frickin' bodies? In any sense at all. I'm gonna need... Do we have any of the clothespins or like squeezy clips?
If we do, they'll be in there somewhere.
In this...
That drawer set, yeah.
Yeah. I do not see them. I just had the sense of, oh, I should pin these fabrics together, and then I remembered, no, I shouldn't. It's vinyl. It's not allowed to be pinned. It's part of what makes sewing with it difficult. No pins allowed zone.
Avery says, what a concept. Yeah, I don't remember which president it was who had the whole presidential fitness test.
Kennedy.
Was it Kennedy?
It was Kennedy.
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't think it was that far back.
It was. How? Somehow I've made this pattern way too long, and I have no idea how. Oh, I know how.
Because you also have sides.
No, it's because wait. Nope. No, I don't know how. How did I make this so freaking too long? I've made this pattern too long. Oh well. Figure it out as I go, I guess. I'll fix it as I go. Or I won't, and it will just look weird. It's fine. Everything today is looking weird. The theme of today is looking weird and accepting your body. And also sometimes your mask. When the presidential fitness test challenges came to my elementary school, I got the silver. We went around to those stations and I got like the silver thing. And if I had been able to do one single pull-up, I would have gotten a gold.
I didn't even remember there being like awards or anything.
There was a little assembly in the auditorium, and the teacher handing out the golds and silvers handed me a silver and announced to the entire auditorium that if I had been able to do one pull-up, I would have gotten a gold. And I try not to be stereotypical about transmasculine formative moments, but but I can't help but wonder. Also, what the hell, that teacher? What the frickin' hell?
Also, like, maybe I'm just partially bitter because, you know...
please, be bitter.
I was an asthmatic kid. My entire family, both of my brothers, are also asthmatic. And the school that I went to knew that. We had emergency inhalers. We had, you know, this was back when you were allowed to have them on yourself and you didn't have to, like... Or, well, I think once we got a little older, we had to leave them down in the nurse's office. Which, you know, that's dumb.
Also kind of bullshit. You need it to breathe.
Yes, exactly. But, like, we were in and out of the ER, like, throughout our formative toddler years. And so, you know, we went into gym class and, like, we have asthma. It's exercise-induced asthma. If we have a lot of physical activity, we're not going to be able to breathe very well. And they just didn't give a shit. Like, I think the first couple of weeks of school, for a while, or like after my mom would make a stink about it, they would let us just sit out. Or, well, I don't know about my brothers because, you know, we were in different grades. But for me, at least, they let me sit out for like the first couple of weeks. Maybe not even that long. But then I would be expected to be involved. And like with the running a mile in particular.
Oh my god.
Because I can't run an entire mile. Yeah. I can't jog an entire mile. And you know, we were just inside the gym, just running around the baseball, the basketball floor. And I was always the last one because I had to walk the entire thing. And the gym teacher always gave me this look. Like, you know, because as the kids finished, everybody, as people finished, they were allowed to go get changed and get ready to go back to class. Or sometimes we might have been, like, the gym class was, like, right before lunch. And so they were allowed to go down to lunch. And I was always the last one. And, you know, she clearly took it personally. Like, I was keeping her there also. But it's like, I don't want to be here either. Yeah. So...
She was the one with the power in that situation.
She was a miserable person.
God. Was gym class American kids just got trained to ignore sympathy for others?
Probably.
Like if you're physically fit, then part of your reward as a kid is that you don't have to feel anything about the kids who are not.
Well, no, you do have to feel something, but what you have to feel is condescension.
Yeah. I've done something weird. Again. I think I know what I've done that's weird. I've done many weird things to this pattern, but I think part of it is that I have cut double the needed material for the sides. It's just overlapping and overlapping and overlapping, and that's weird. But it's fine, it just means that the second one doesn't need sides at all.
Oh, Finn says I can get behind that, the theme of the day, that is.
What's the time?
It is just about 6 o'clock.
Sweetness. And how are you doing on samples?
I'm just about done.
Sweet. I am getting close to the end of that's not true. I am like 5 steps away from the end of this. And I want to finish it.
I'm just trying to remember what my elementary school gym teacher's name was, and I can't remember.
Don't. It's lost. Undeserved. Memory is undeserved.
Like so many teachers at that school. And people in general. I'm one of those rare people who actually enjoyed high school, but was miserable in middle school. Probably because there were just too few people in my elementary school. Like there were only 50 kids in each class, in each grade. So like 25 kids per class. Everybody knew each other, and it was the worst thing.
And strangely, now this is too short. What have I done? Weirdo. Might not be too short. Well, let's find out. Maybe the fabric will stretch just enough to fit. It won't. What the hell? Oh well. It'll be messy again, which is fine. I can stand being messy. I get to forgive myself for being messy during a prototype stage. It's good practice for me. I hope y'all have good plans tonight. We have chicken to roast from the first round of our local meat farm share, which is nice. And soup mix that we picked up at the Asian market until we read the fine print and saw that it was 2 servings and called for 2 chickens.
Of about a pound each.
Less than a pound each. 2 chickens, total 700 grams.
So really, really meant for like a Cornish hen sized chicken.
2 chickens, and they do not add up total to 2 pounds. Then
Chicken, rather than an actual chicken.
yeah, when you have 2 chickens and they do not add up total to 2 pounds, then something has happened in the automated translation of the label. So we're just gonna roast a chicken instead, and it will be great. I'm looking forward to it because it's been a while since we've had meat from this particular farm. The last time was Christmas, especially to get a duck. I really wanted a goose, but we couldn't find a goose, so I got a duck.
Yeah,
for
we
Christmas.
tried really hard to find a goose, but
Yeah.
you have to get on those lists early, and we didn't think of it.
Mm-hmm.
We thought of it too early,
Yeah.
and then forgot about it until it was too late.
Yeah, you have to reserve your goose when they are raising them,
Yeah.
when they are hatching them, really.
All right, if I leave these, the ones that need to be done, open, will you? Is that enough of an indication that you need to finish those for me?
Sure.
Thanks.
Depending on where they are. What do you mean open? Oh, there.
The envelopes are open.
Gotcha. Yes.
So they're like everything is ready to be finished. Just,
open ones I will finish before I close them.
yeah. Either they just need to get finished stabling, or 2 of them need
Some fabric.
yes, and also stapling.
Okay. I think that's very doable.
Yeah.
One of the interesting things about moving back and forth between home and work is that each location runs out of different things at different times. And like, you go to work and make 6 dice bags, and then one of them requested rainbow rope, and is the rainbow rope at home? No. The trans pride rope is, though. I'm getting really good at making dice bags, though. Drawstring dice bags, they're getting easier. I love them.
It probably helps now that we have like a set pattern.
A set pattern, a set size, guidelines, and also drawstrings. Like we didn't have a rope before. Alrighty. Boop. Boop, boop. Last thing to do is more long loops. I need more spandex. Where did that... There it is. Here it is. Last thing to do. Actually, can I ask you to cut me some less than an inch wide strips out of that?
Let's see if this works.
Thank you.
Sort of
Chop off the excess flannel from the inside of here.
It doesn't work great. You
Only need
two,
two.
right?
Yeah.
The rest of it can wait until there's an actual fabric shear.
Yeah, I think we might need to just get another pair of fabric shears.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there's one specifically, there's two pairs specifically for me at the mill, the small and the big.
Mm-hmm.
There's two pairs specifically for layouts, and there's going to be a pair specifically for person doing hems.
Mm-hmm.
And at that point, if any one of them gets a dent, it would be nice to have a spare, so let's just get another set for home.
Okay.
Oops, we need another pair of scissors.
This is just what happens.
Tailoring life. And scissors, like, of all the things where in these COVID times everyone gets their own tools, the thing that can draw blood on you seems like the thing that is most important for everyone to get their own set.
Yeah.
This is also why it's not feasible to for everyone to have their own set of straight pins, because we can't keep track of whose straight pins are whose when we have 1,000 of the exact same tiny thing.
Yeah.
But the way we've worked around that is that at the end of every shift, you dump your straight pins right back into the ethanol solution, the jar of ethanol that's ethanol? Isopropyl alcohol. Whatever, disinfectant thing. You dump your pins. You dump your straight pins straight back into the jar where they get disinfected, and then the next person pulls them out of the disinfectant to work with them and dumps them back in the disinfectant jar.
That works.
Yeah, and that way it's we can all still share a thing that might draw blood, but in between every single shift, they're all thoroughly sanitized.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's how really good nail salons do it.
Oh yeah?
Not that every worker has their own standard in every nail salon, because they own their own tools, because that way they can just have consistency in their tools from salon to salon.
Yeah.
But in the more expensive nail salons, a lot of the times each customer will have their own set of not like every single tool, but like nail files and cuticle pushers. And the nail tech will keep them in like a little patch, disinfect after every service. But just to like really make sure that there's no cross-contamination, because like bacteria infections, which a lot of people, people usually call them fungal infections, but most of the time they're not actually fungal infections, they're just bacteria on the surface of the nail. They're so common, and a lot of people don't know when they have one, especially if it's on their toenails.
It took me a long time to figure out that my toenails were discolored for any reason.
Yeah.
In that case, it was because I ran a moving cart over them, but whatever.
Or like, especially if you're getting your nails done like consistently, you know, so you have nail polish on or you have like tips on all the time, and so you're not getting a good look at your nails until the nail polish comes off. Like that's what happened to me. Is uh, I was doing the builder UV gel.
I made an error and now I need more strips. I'm sorry.
And I had let them go just long enough for one of them to pop off, and there was a little patch of bacteria infection on it, on my nail, that wasn't there when I put it on.
That makes sense. I wish tailoring studios were as common as nail salons in terms of like, or had like standards the way nail salons do, because we've had to figure all of this out ourselves.
I'm sure there are, but you have to actually have worked in one.
Yeah, and there's not like a licensing, which is nice for the barrier to entry, but still.
Well, right, because you're not like, the reason that there's a license for nails and for hair and for skincare is because you're
dealing with body parts.
Yeah. Finn says, I've started making my mask. Wish me luck. I'm stubborn and never want to do drafts, so I'm not making a draft. I might regret this.
Good luck!
I only have gay pins.
Very important to have... That took me a minute. Very good. Very good. Our pins are only straight some of the time. Our pins are only straight until we messed with them long enough. Very good.
Thanks. I didn't catch that.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Also, good luck doing masks, and also I completely agree, screw drafts. Just fly away. Do the thing. It will work or it won't, and either way it will be fun. They say on their 8th, 9th clear window mask draft, in which I have slowly but surely most likely just arrived at someone else's pattern. Like, this is simple enough that I'm sure it already exists as a free pattern somewhere on the internet. But I did it for myself, so I could figure it out, and now I know more than I would if I had just downloaded a free pattern, and that's how I'm justifying this.
Yeah, there's also like levels of certification, like licensing, like cosmetology and nail tech certifications are like a lower level, because even though you're dealing with people's body, you're not, it's a higher level if you're inserting things into the body, like piercing
okay.
Tattoo artists, but like microblading has become a thing now, which is basically makeup tattoos.
Oh,
they don't.
Okay.
It doesn't last as long as a tattoo. I think I forget if it's counted in weeks or in months.
Okay.
But they do fade more quickly. They're not like as deep in the skin.
Yeah.
But because it is a needle that is being injected, completely separate licensing.
That makes sense to me.
Or like acupuncturists have a different license than just your regular masseuse.
Oh yeah. And like the whole tailoring thing, normal course of times, there isn't really like a common danger of infection in tailoring on account of laundry exists.
Yeah.
Okay, it's messy, but it's done. Nope, it's got to do it the other way around. Hang on. So one shorter loop and one longer loop. Alrighty, long loops over the nose.
That looks better.
You can see my mouth, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And again, there's plenty of fog. I think if I pull it in front of my chin, yeah, there's less, I think. Yeah. Okay, it's doing a thing to my nose, which I don't like, which I think a wire will help.
Yeah.
But it is better than prior ones in terms of doing things to my nose. It's pressing down on like the bridge of my nose instead of the tip, which is unusual and weird. It's weird that you can see my nose. Again, maybe the window's just a bit too big.
Or maybe you're just pulling it up too high.
I can't pull it down any further without hurting my nose more.
Okay.
It has to sit somewhere so that it doesn't it's like right on the bone of the bridge of my nose is where it's pulling backward, and that's actually really uncomfortable. If I try and pull it, yeah, no. Nope. Still.
So maybe the top and bottom trapezoids just need to be a little bit taller.
Yeah, could be. Yeah. Alright, I'm gonna make that note on the pattern. Plus half an inch. Which way? This way or this way? Probably doesn't matter. Let's half an inch that way.
Well, I guess that also means you're going to have to adjust the ones on the side, right? So that they match up.
I mean, I've got a pattern piece where I will adjust the sides as I adjust the top. Yeah. Okay. I feel moderately good about that. Blah. It's still pretty foggy. I really don't know what can be done other than what we're doing. And yeah, I think you're right. The top and the bottom need to give a little more room. But otherwise,
I think you also need just a little bit more slack on the
fastening.
The loops, yeah.
Yeah. Only one of these fastenings is longer. One of them is still 10 inches. So that's definitely a thing. Yeah, if it had like space here, yeah, I think that would help.
Yeah, especially because at least on the bottom, it looks like it's like pulling it back onto your chin.
Yeah.
Which when you were just holding it over your face before, it was sticking out.
You're right.
And I think that's what's doing that.
Had more air. Yeah, makes sense. Okay, I'm gonna make a note. Long loops, 14 inches.
Or possibly just making this side longer, just a bit, so that the connection point is lower down.
I think the sides, yeah, could do.
There are options.
There are. We could just move the connection points down. Like, the connection point doesn't have to be at the corner.
Well, but then you just have this corner flapping around.
You're right. Alright, I'm done fogging up my life. Ugh. Doesn't help that the humidity is horrible in this entire world right now.
It's fine in here. Anyway, we should make dinner.
It's time to make dinner. I hope y'all have a really good evening, a really